What's the strangest conversation you've overheard in a language people assumed you didn't understand? I'm Indian, but living in CA most people think I am Mexican. Getting ready to board a plane to Hawaii, and Sa is checking bags again at the gate for random searches. My dad jokingly exclaims in Hindi that we are all going to get randomly searched to get ready to run. The white guy in front of us starts chuckling, and then gets stopped instead of us. He turns around and says in Hindi, "You guys go on without me, I'll distract them." For those who are not deaf, but speak ASL, American Sign Language, they often speak along with signing. One time in a coffee shop, I heard someone talking to their friend aloud, while signing what her friend assumed were the proper signs. However, I noticed that the woman speaking was signing something completely different. A woman sitting across the room was signing back to her, as they were having a conversation of their own. Those speaking were discussing the non-signing lady's work, but those signing were discussing the non-signing lady's sex life. I can only hope the two signers knew each other. When we were 19, my two best friends and I were studying in Spain and decided to take a side trip to France. We were traveling light and trying to save money, as poor college students tend to do, and had stuffed our carry-on bags with lots of granola bars and snack foods to sustain us for the weekend. Apparently we were also obviously American. At the security check, the conversation between the workers went something like this: "Look at this bag. Fat Americans, always eating. Can they not even make a flight without food? I think if Americans stop eating, they die. Why else would they be so fat?" The best part was the looks on their faces when my friend looked at them and said, in perfect Spanish, "Thank you. Can you tell us where our gate is? And where we can find a McDonald's? I'm so hungry." My girlfriend's 90-year-old Czech grandpa was at a library in Florida once a few years ago. He was waiting in line to check out a book when a Czech couple comes up behind him. Hardly anyone speaks Czech, let alone in Florida, so they thought they could say whatever they wanted. They're talking about how the guy wants to do her right there and that they can't wait to get home to have super naughty time, all the while describing everything they're going to do to each other. Once my girlfriend's grandpa checks out, he turns around to the couple and says, "Have a good day" in Czech. Their faces drop and turn white as the 90-year-old man struts out of the public library. I was on Siesta Key Beach in Sarasota, FL, and was walking behind two guys from Italy who happened to both be wearing Speedos. A man and his girlfriend walk by and the man chuckles at the two foreigners for their choice of swimwear. Knowing what the chuckle was about, one of the Italian men turns to the other and says, "That's what I don't understand about America. I don't care whether you're man or women, straight or gay. My thighs are 10 times more enjoyable to look at than his girlfriend's, yet I am the one being made fun of." I was at a Mexican restaurant with a bunch of my girlfriends and one guy friend. We were at the bar and my guy friend overheard the bartender joking with another worker saying, "Let's get this gringo drunk and steal his women." He looked at them and responded, "This gringo speaks Spanish, but if you're paying." So I went into a Russian store with my friend. We both know Russian but are Americans, and he's married to an American woman. As we walk in, he's talking to his wife in English. There's a Russian couple already in there shopping. It's a small store, and as we walk around she starts complaining to her husband about those goddamn Americans. Why are they even in here? She threw out a few swear words and just wouldn't shut up. Then, right as we walk past them, my friend says to his wife, in flawless Russian, "I've got to go, honey. This bitch in the store won't shut up," and I'm starting to get pissed. The look on her face, priceless. I was on an Amtrak with my boyfriend who was watching West Wing, and as it was 8 AM, I just didn't have it in me to really enjoy it, so I opted to read my book instead. We were sitting at one of the tables with two benches opposite one another, and there were two French ladies in their mid-60s sitting across from us. They were having a great conversation in French, and then I heard one of them go, essentially, "Oh, the boys in every country, they are all the same. You put a pretty girl next to them, a girl they think will stay there, and they'd rather watch a screen. You take the pretty girl away and they go chasing after her. saying they'd never want to look at anything else. I just started cracking up and they were really embarrassed and started apologizing profusely, but I thought it was hilarious. Boyfriend sat there looking confused, smiled awkwardly, and kept watching West Wing. I spent much of the rest of the train ride chatting it up with the French ladies. These two old women started talking about how great men's butts looked while on a bus. They were speaking Romanian, which isn't exactly a common language in America. While they were talking about me, I turned around and said thank you, ladies, gentlemen. Always keep the class. I was on the subway in Korea and these 4 high school boys were standing behind me, talking to each other like, look at her. OMG, foreigners are so pretty, she has really nice hair, you should talk to her. No way, dude. My English is shitty. You first. I turned around and just smiled and they freaked out and kept whispering like, oh god. Did she understand? No way. She couldn't have, did she? It was really funny. Made my day. My dad, the best I could describe him is whitey white rotten. He is fluent in English, Spanish, and Portuguese, but he never taught any of his children the language. Moving on. My dad was helping his friend at a garage sale. My dad, his friend, and his wife were sitting on lawn chairs. A Mexican family came up and they were looking around and my dad relayed everything. The family talked about the high prices. The guy's wife is ugly, and his friend is fat. The family bought a mattress off of them and my dad helped load the mattress into their car. As they were about to drive off, my dad said in Spanish, thank you very much. Have a great day and if you ever need anything, come back. They went wide-eyed and drove off quickly. I was in Brussels on the tram one morning when these 2 American girls with heavy southern accents began to talk really loudly about the city. How European guys are like in bed. How they think Belgium is ugly and small and crowded and whatnot, and generally trash talking Europe. After a while they went, hey, do you think anyone here speaks English? And a guy who's getting off the tram said, we all speak English here, and left. Unfortunately, I speak a lot of languages, but no unexpected languages, so I don't have a lot of funny stories. A buddy of mine had really long blonde hair in a pony and was riding the bus down to Pap Station in Toronto. The 2 old Italian ladies behind him were going on and on about how disgusting it was in this country that the boys were allowed to look like girls, and how sad his parents must be that he was probably a gay, etc. My friend finally gets up and tells them in fluent Italian that he gets lots of girls thanks to his long hair and wishes them a nice day. I did a study abroad program in Tokyo back in undergrad. I was on the subway one day with these 2 salarymen sitting across from me. From the moment I sat down, they started discussing me in Japanese, how big my boobs were, the color of my hair, how wide my hips, etc. They apparently didn't expect a little white girl to speak Japanese. They weren't threatening or anything, so I'll let them go on. When the train finally got to my stop, I stood up and said in Japanese, I speak Japanese, you perverts, and calmly walked out. I turned back to look at them as the doors closed, and both their faces had turned bright red and their mouths were hanging open in surprise. I used to love embarrassing the perverts and grabbers on the trains. One time a friend was over in my dorm and he answered his phone to his friend and he answered in Chinese. I didn't think much of it. He was fluent and I figured it was one of his close friends. I was playing a video game and on Ventrilo, so while he was speaking a few feet away, I was queuing in to laugh at a joke or call out a boss pull. Well, a few minutes later, someone whispers me in game and is like, just so you know, that guy's telling his friend he's about to score with you in Chinese. Yeah. We never hung out much after that. In a subway, was sitting near 2 Russian men, who were talking about a fat girl in front of them. Just some insults, nothing major. Then all of a sudden they start talking about how they could probably kill her and no one would care. I figure they mean figuratively. Till they both get up and one says to the other, I guess she's lucky we're getting off before her. She'll never know how close to death she came. Hum sub for more hum like hum. This channel is holding on by a thread. Hum.